Welcome to Parent Tips from Empowering Parent Network. I'm Dr. Julie M. Lane. Every week, I share practical ideas to help parents confidently navigate special education and become informed advocates for their children. Whether you're just beginning your journey or have attended many IEP meetings over the years, my hope is that you leave each episode feeling encouraged, informed, and ready for the next step. Let's begin. Have you ever walked out of an IEP meeting and thought, what just happened? Maybe the team talked about assessments, goals, accommodations, services, and eligibility. Everyone around the table seemed to understand the conversation, but you left wondering if you had missed anything important. If you've ever felt that way, I want you to know something. You are definitely not alone. I've worked in special education for many years. I've attended countless IEP meetings as a teacher, administrator, consultant, and advocate. I've sat on both sides of the table, and one thing has remained true throughout my career. The parents who become the strongest advocates are not necessarily the ones who know the most laws. They are the ones who know how to ask thoughtful questions. Today's parent tip is this. The most important question you can ask during an IEP meeting is, can you help me understand why this recommendation is the best choice for my child? Notice what this question does. It's not confrontational. It's not argumentative. It does not assume something's wrong. Instead, it invites the team to explain their thinking. That one question changes the entire conversation. Let's talk about why. Sometimes parents feel pressure to either agree with everything or disagree with everything. Neither approach helps. Your role is to understand. When you understand the reasoning behind a recommendation, you're in a much better position to decide whether it truly meets your child's needs. For example, imagine the team recommends reducing speech services. Instead of immediately saying, I don't agree with you, you might say, can you help me understand why the team believes this is the appropriate next step? Now you've opened the door to a conversation. The team may explain that your child has consistently met communication goals across several settings. They may share recent assessment data. They may describe observations from the classroom. Or you may discover that their reasoning is incomplete. Either way, you've gained valuable information. Understanding always comes before advocacy. I often tell parents that good advocacy begins with good questions. Questions create conversations. Conversations build understanding. Understanding leads to better decisions. Now let me share 3 practical ways you can begin using this approach. The first is to slow the conversation down. Meetings move quickly, whether they are IEP meetings or individualized education plan meetings or parent-teacher conferences. There is a lot of information, and it is perfectly acceptable to ask someone to pause. You might simply say, I'd like to make sure I understand before we move on. There's nothing wrong with asking people to explain educational terms in everyday language. Remember, these meetings are about your child. You deserve to understand every recommendation being made. Second, ask for examples. Sometimes we hear broad statements such as, your child's making progress. Progress is wonderful, but what does that actually look like? Ask questions like, could you share an example? What does that look like in the classroom? Can you help me understand what success looks like? Examples can transform general statements into meaningful information. Third, connect every recommendation back to your child. Every child's unique. When someone recommends a service, support, or change, ask, how will this help my child participate, learn, and become more independent? That question keeps the focus exactly where it belongs. Not on paperwork, not on programs, not on procedures, on your child. Now I'd like to mention one common mistake I see. Sometimes parents feel they must have every answer before walking into the meeting. Please don't put that pressure on yourself. Your responsibility is not to be the expert on every educational practice. Your responsibility is to know your child. No one at the table knows your son or daughter the way you do. You bring experiences that cannot be measured on an assessment. You know what motivates your child. You know what causes frustration. You know the dreams you have for your child's future. That perspective is essential. The educational team brings professional expertise. You bring parental expertise. When those two forms of knowledge come together with mutual respect, everyone benefits, especially your child. Before we finish today, I'd like to leave you with a simple challenge. Before your next meeting, write down 3 questions you genuinely want answered. Not questions designed to prove a point. Questions designed to build understanding. Carry those questions with you. You may discover that the conversation becomes more productive simply because you were prepared to ask thoughtful questions. Now I'd like to leave you with one reflection. Think about your last meeting, whether that was a parent-teacher conference, a meeting with a school administrator, an IEP meeting, or an individualized family service plan meeting. Was there a moment when you wished you had asked one more question? If so, write it down today. That question may become the starting point of your next conversation. And finally, remember this. Good advocacy begins with good questions. Thank you for spending this few minutes with me today. At Empowering Parent Network, we believe informed parents become confident advocates, and confident advocates help children discover their own voice. If this episode encouraged you, I invite you to subscribe to our channel and share this video with another parent who could benefit from it. Until next time, this is Dr. Julie M. Lane, and remember this. You are your child's greatest advocate, and you do not have to walk this journey alone.